Café Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Welcome to Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. It's starting to heat up for
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Hottober. It's episode 2684, 2684, and it's Mike. I am here today. I'm happy. Okay, I'm kind of like a little bit out of it, but that's what you do when you're doing a daily podcast. Sometimes you will just sometimes run out of gas, but we're gonna ramp it up.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Things are gonna get good. Things are gonna get. You know what? Here's what's interesting. When you have a conversation with someone younger than you, and you find out that the language you're using is like not okay anymore. And I am probably the most cognizant. Ooh, that's a good podcast picture. Oh, I got to do that one sometime soon. Okay, mental note. I am someone trying to be mental noting all the time how I'm talking and am I speaking the current lingo. I have never been a good one for slang, for colloquialisms, for words that are just out there, and I know I struggle sometimes with the English language as it is. But when you try it's funny because there are people now who are grown adults with kids that I've known a long time, and I remember back when they were telling me, Mike, you're not talking right. Back when they were wee little kids. And now they're being schooled by their little kids. You're not talking right, Dad. So it's every generation blames the one before, and all of your frustration it's thrown on their door. Or whatever that Mike and the Mechanics song is. But I'm not Mike from Mike and the Mechanics. Because that's Mike Rutherford. I'm Mike Matthews. And we do have a podcast picture today, and it's from the lovely town of Martinez.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Yes, Martinez. It gets some bad press because there's a lot of jails there and bail bonds, that kind of thing. But there is also some beauty and a lot of history, and I love to visit it from time to time. Although I checked out a craft brewery there, and it got so hot because it's got all these windows, and it's sort of like an old warehouse they converted. But wow, I'm sweating while I'm drinking my beer. I'm like, this is not cool at all. And then I left and came back an hour later, and everything was fine because the sun had gone down. The late great Basil the Boxer did not go with me to this particular. Oh, actually, yes, the spot that you see along the shoreline there, MikesDailyPodcast.com. You can see the podcast picture. He and I did go there when he was with us quite a few years back. But yes, beware of drinking beer in a warehouse with windows that face the sun that's setting and heating you up. Not so fun. Okay, you're welcome for that bit of info. And also be aware that sometimes the rewards that your card gives you for certain things, like let's say gas, you may have read it wrong, and it wasn't for gas, it was for travel. So, hey, you thought, I'm going to get all these points for using this for the gas because gas is so expensive now. And it turns out, nope, they give you 5% for travel. So you have gotten 5% had you booked a plane ticket, but not, or rented a car, but not what you did, Mike. Sorry. Thought I'd pass along that helpful information to you. If you are listening to this on the 4th of October, it is National Taco Day. And it is not Taco Tuesday, though. It's Taco Wednesday. And
Fabagoo, things to do.
Taco Bell can use the term Taco Tuesday. Is that what I heard? It's also National Pumpkin Seed Day. I'm not one for... I've choked on many a pumpkin seed. Because back in the day, we would take a pumpkin and carve it, and Mom would take the seeds and put them on a cookie sheet, put it in the oven, sprinkle a little salt on it, and they were delicious, but also the little bits would get all stuck in your throat. Oh, but Mike, you're supposed to take off the shell part. You're supposed to eat the insides. I don't know. That's how we did it, and it's probably wrong. But that's all right. Pumpkin seeds as a whole are very healthy for you.
When you are a man, sometimes you wear stretchy pants.
MTV News. You hear it first.
As many a person has pumpkin seeds that they're dealing with. And oh, did you know among other civilizations, the Aztecs and Mayans were believed to revere pumpkin seeds as an essential and powerful source of food and nutrition? Pumpkin seeds are one of the most nutritious plant-based foods. A quarter cup serving alone includes an immune-boosting 17% of the adult's daily allowance of zinc. Gives you lots of zinc. And iron. Something like 15%.
Woo!
Pumpkin seeds without shells, also known as pepitas, provide an even better standalone snack. Pepitas are especially delicious when dry roasted. And you can also try adding savory seasonings too. Ooh, that's me. Savory seasonings all the time.
You will travel into the incredible universe.
There's also magnesium, phosphorus, manganese.
I got through that. I got into it.
Essential nutrients, all kinds of stuff that helps with your overall body function. I do not see anywhere in here the omega-3 acids, so I might be wrong with that assertion. But there is also, for those of you who love golf, today is National Golf Lovers Day. If you're listening to this on the 4th, and National Walk to School Day. Now, a lot of parents today are like, nah, I don't want to let my kid walk to school. Too many hazards. But back when I was a kid, we had the parents that said, when I was a kid, I walked in the snow 8 miles both ways. And that was the George Carlin joke. And we are, I think, and we are outside of Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley.
Anyway.
The last place on earth. It's also National Cinnamon Bun Day.
This is Mike's Podcast Picnic.
But of course, anything cinnamon in the month of October is wonderful. This month was made for cinnamon. In fact, if your name is Cinnamon, this day is for you.
Mike is on it, man.
Man go where no man has gone before.
We love it, Mike.
Anything coming up on the 5th? I'm still not seeing anything happening on the 5th. So I guess that is not going to be. It seems, however, that National Mad Hatter Day, which I alluded to last podcast, that podcast was called Romans, by the way, because we were discussing all the craziness going on with people saying that males think about Romans at least once a week. No, I strongly disagree with that. But that episode 2683, we mentioned it. National Mad Hatter Day will be on October 6th, and it looks to be something from the Alice in Wonderland book.
This show is clean.
Lewis Carroll's book.
Pretty much.
And the Mad Hatter.
Kathy's Corner.
Kathy's Corner.
A group of computer technicians in Boulder, Colorado first celebrated Mad Hatter Day in 1986 as a day of silliness. October 6th matches the label tucked in the Mad Hatter's hat band that reads, in the style 10/6. On Friday. So.
Mike's cassette copy.
But there you go. Outside of Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. Look who's here. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. I have a Mad Hatter snow globe for you right here, Mike Matthews. Oh, look at that. It's so nice. It's shaped like a hat, but you can see through it, and there's snow. Although with a hat and snow, that might be considered dandruff. You wouldn't want to do that, I don't think. Mike Matthews, that's gross. You talk weird. I think you need to change the way you talk, Mike Matthew.
You know, I mean, people get stuck on stupid. You know what I mean?
Never start off a sentence with the two words. Here's two words you never start off a sentence with. You people. Never, ever, ever start a sentence with those two words. Is what I learned today.
Bands mutations.
When you say something of, let's say, in this, okay. There is, I'm looking it up. What I'm looking up is apparently not true either. Okay. Well, whoever was telling me, if you're following someone or their movements, here we go, closely and persistently, if you're really following them, that is, the verb is, and this is according to the dictionary, it is dogging. As in, photographers seem to dog her every step. So if you're following very closely, that's dogging, like a dog would. But it is also a slang term, and that can refer to sexual things and all kinds of stuff. But it's interesting. When it comes to slang, anything seems to be up for grabs. And you never know. And I've probably said many a thing that in the slang view would be embarrassing. Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. What an interesting example, Mike Matthews. Yes. I don't know why I picked that one. I think we were trying to discuss another verb where you are trying to, let's see, ducking, which means to escape, dodge, evade, avoid. And depart quickly is another one. So if you're trying to avoid someone, you're ducking from them. That was something else. I know. Way too exciting for this podcast. And anything else interesting that I wanted to bring along to you on this particular podcast with Mike Matthews and Mike's Daily Podcast, as it were, as the name is, as it is. The IRS knows if you sold your Taylor Swift Eras tickets. That's right. In a big shift, anyone who took in more than $600 a year from reselling tickets could be in for a tax surprise. So Swifties, Beyonce's Bayhive, I think that's how it is, or that's also soccer buffs. They all paid sky-high prices. If you cashed in this summer by reselling your tickets, brace yourself to pay taxes. A new law requires ticketing platforms like Ticketmaster and StubHub to give the IRS information about what got sold. A fan who paid $500 for tickets and resold them for $1,000 with a $90 seller fee would have gained $410. That transaction would represent taxable events. It would be a taxable event at 10% to 37%. Now, it also depends on the state income tax. eBay, Airbnb, and Etsy and their users, from dog walkers to clothing resellers, are also affected by the IRS. And we're talking about credit cards and what you get rewards for earlier in this podcast. Well, and I wondered too if it is possible with some credit cards, if you can go in and let's say the mistake I made, was it gas that I get the reward on or travel? Maybe I can go in with some things that you pay for and actually change what it is. There's like a little drop down menu on some credit cards websites that you can go into and see what you paid for and then change it from being gas to, let's say, travel. But I'm still investigating that. Credit card losses are rapidly rising, by the way. Americans owe more than $1 trillion on credit cards, and that is a record high. Credit card companies like Capital One and Discover are racking up losses at the fastest pace in 3 decades. They have been rapidly rising since the first quarter of 2022. Losses currently stand...
Addenda with Kevin. Welsh on the world.
So, a couple percentage points. What is unusual is that losses are accelerated outside of an economic downturn. Of the past 5 credit card loss cycles, 3 were characterized by recessions. That all from Rob Black. He has a show about money, and it's called The Rob Black Show. I produce his podcast. You can listen to a show on the radio, AM 1220 KDOW, weekdays in the morning, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. He's also on Cron TV in the 9 a.m. hour, and that's in the Bay Area. Spotify is going to use AI to replicate podcasters' voices. Oh, no. I doubt they're going to replicate mine. What would be the point? And translate them into other languages. The tech can create realistic synthetic voices from just a few seconds of speech. Wow. And that's something I hope I never hear. Speaking of artificial intelligence, Amazon says it's going to invest up to $4 billion in the AI firm Anthropic. And Tinder is offering a new $500 a month subscription to its most active users. Samsung's new ploy to get kids off of iPhones is a Mr. Beast sponsorship. Mr. Beast is like the biggest YouTuber on the planet, makes the most money. And you really, YouTube, TikTok, all of them that are supposed to pay you for, you got this many subscribers, we're going to pay you. They all take advantage of you. If you want to be an influencer, you're going to have to hope that some kind of brand name of some company is going to find out about you and think that you're worth it. But don't just depend on YouTube and TikTok to pay you. 87% of teens own an iPhone. 87. Wow. That's almost all of them, leaving precious little market for Android device makers to carve up. So the blue bubble peer pressure theory about teens' iPhone preference would imply that Samsung's efforts are doomed. But we'll see. And Amazon's Prime Video viewers are about to see ads pop up on the service starting next year with the option to pay more for an ad-free experience. And finally, Lego's latest effort to avoid oil-based plastics has hit a brick wall, probably made out of Legos, saying the new material from recycled bottles would increase carbon emissions.
The Royal Trump Tweet Decree.
And it's all around Legos are bad for the environment. Ugh. And I feel so guilty for playing with them all the way up till 5 minutes ago when I started doing the podcast. But it is Legos. What are you going to do? And apparently, and I love saying the word apparently, but I watched a video about how the second Lego movie, the sequel, whatever they called it, was such a bomb compared to the first Lego. The first Lego movie did so well. The Batman Lego movie did pretty well, but they apparently did so many Lego movies all at once that by the sequel, it did very poorly. And it got sold, the franchise, to Universal. Or was it, from Warner Brothers, I think it was. So that's the story of Legos. And that's the end of the podcast. If you would like to call and mention whatever's on your mind, feel free to do so. And the number to call me is 510-228-4640 here at Café Anyway. And with more ways to reach me, it is A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com.
Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!